Hello everyone, happy International Women's Day. Almost, it's not quite International Women's Day, but it will be. I hope that you are very, very well. My name is Lizzie and as you've probably guessed, today we are discussing feminist books, specifically feminist fiction. International Women's Day is on the 8th of March every year, which I believe is next Wednesday. I think that's the date that it's going to be this year. And it's a day for celebrating women, for remembering the strides that have been made in gender equality, and also acknowledging how far there still is left to go. Now, last year I gave you some non-fiction recommendations, so this year I've got some fiction recommendations. In the spirit of being an International Women's Day, then there are some from different countries, from different time periods, bit of a mix, 5 very different books that hopefully at least one of them will appeal to you as an International Women's Day read. So without any further ado, let's get to the books. First up is The Girl with the Louding Voice by Abi Dare. This follows a young girl living in Nigeria as she is sold into essentially modern slavery and fights to get her freedom and her education and to find her louding voice, to be the girl with the louding voice. The thing that really stood out in this book for me and what makes it a absolute mainstay in modern feminist fiction, in my opinion, is it's not just about the main character kind of finding her voice and finding her power and basically girl bossing her way out of her situation. It's about her fighting for an education, for financial stability, for a home. It's about all the things that she needs to have in order to have that inner strength and that power. She already has it at the start. She doesn't need to go on a journey to find it. What she needs are the material things to help her succeed in life. And it's very rare to find a book about that. So I think this is a really, really great example of modern YA feminist fiction because it's about intersectionality. It's about the things that we need in order to thrive and survive and how those are denied to too many women, especially in the global south. Next up is another YA book, and it is a historical fiction called Things a Bright Girl Can Do by Sally Nichols. As you can maybe guess from the cover, this is about suffragettes. It's about 3 young women living in sort of Edwardian and First World War and just post First World War Britain and their own involvement with the suffragette movement. 2 out of the 3 main characters are also queer and begin a relationship with each other over the course of the book. And what I thought was really great in this book is it's about all the different ways that we can fight for, in this case, suffrage, fight for women's rights, and all the different perspectives that they come from. Each of the main characters has a very different background, a very different home life, a very different financial situation, and that affects what they can and can't do and what they're willing to do for the suffrage movement. It also explores different ideas of femininity, gender expression, and it's just a really, really, really great book. Really recommend. The next book is actually the reason I'm making this video. I finished it only yesterday. I finished it and was like, I immediately need to talk about it. And also it's International Women's Day next week. I should do an International Women's Day video so I can talk about this book. And it is Kim Ji-young, born 1982, by Cho Namji. This has been translated from Korean. The author is South Korean, and it follows the life and sort of examines Kim Ji-young's life as she has grown up and the way that the structures and institutions in South Korea are very much geared towards men and the patriarchal systems in that country. This is one of the few fiction books I've read that has citations, so whenever the author is referring to particular statistics or sort of facts about gender inequality, such as maternity leave, the number of hours or average wages of female workers, then she does include a citation to back up her facts, which I thought was really, really great, and something very unusual to see in fiction, but also I think speaks to her expected reaction to the book, that she backed up her facts. She backed up her facts. There's not too much I can say without spoiling it. The absolute best bit was the very, very end, which made me want to punch something and throw this book across the room. And it was the perfect ending and an infuriating ending, and was why this book is so brilliant. So yes, I can't obviously tell you what the ending was because that would ruin the ending, but it just really tied together the book in such a brilliant and frustrating way. The book examines the way that Ji Young and her sister and her mother and her grandmother and all the women in her life, the way that they get by, how they have, if they've managed to grow in their careers, how they've managed it, all the different ways that these women have fought for the life that they have, and what they do when they can't fight anymore, when they run out of fight, and when things no longer go to plan. And one of the running themes in this book, which is also tied into the ending, is men seeing the struggles that women face and not realising that they could be part of the solution. So that was a very frustrating theme to keep coming back to, but it was really, really good. I really recommend this book. Okay, so next is one that I feel like I've recommended this a million times, and it is the Penalopead by Margaret Atwood. Now, I love Greek retelling. I love sort of feminist or women-focused Greek retellings. This is maybe the peak, definitely, of like the feminist retellings. This is the ultimate. So Penelope is Odysseus's wife in the Odyssey, and at the end of the Odyssey, then 12 of her maids, of the maid girls, servants, in translations make it murky, in her household get murdered by soldiers at the end. And this book is about them and about Penelope, and it's about whose story gets to be told and why. And you have a very literal Greek chorus, and it's very weird but very good. It's just under 200 pages, so it's a really, really quick read, and it's really, really great. I really need to reread it, it's so good. So the last one for the first part of the video is Woman on the Edge of Time by Marge Piercy. This is science fiction, it's kind of dystopian, utopian idea. When I first bought it, it was on the table in Waterstones, and the tagline, I think it said, the classic feminist science fiction something, or it was like all those words were in the title, and I was like, yes, I need to read this. It follows a Chicana woman in the 70s who lives in New York, and she is transported to a futuristic utopia where equality reigns and everyone is encouraged to pursue their dreams but to contribute to their community, and it examines all the ways in which this perfect society can be achieved. We briefly get to see the opposite, the kind of dystopian opposite version of that, and the main character is given a choice as to which one she chooses. There are so many layers to this. All the different things in the utopia are sort of such interesting ideas and concepts, and to see how, especially how 50 years ago we were thinking about what the future would look like and what an equal future would look like. There's also a lot about women's health in here, specifically women's mental health and how that has been viewed throughout history. It is a classic, this one. It's the oldest one on the list. I think my copy is the 50th anniversary edition, so it has been around for a while, and that's really, really great because you get to see this kind of snapshot into feminist thinking and feminist utopian thinking in this era. So those are the books that I have read. Now I've got some books on my TBR to show you as well. So this first one I picked up in a charity shop the other day, and it's called Diary of a Void by Emi Yagi. It's translated from Japanese, I believe. and is about a woman who realises that she would get treated better at work if she was pregnant. So she pretends to be pregnant to get all the perks of being pregnant. But of course, you can only do that for 9 months. So it sounds funny, it sounds hilarious, but also like it's going to have lots of sort of insight into how women in pregnancy are treated. It just sounds like great fun. And the inside cover, they just really tickle me. There's 40 fruits for how big a baby would be at each stage of pregnancy. So I don't really know what to expect with this one, but I'm expecting to have fun, and also to have some little insights and probably some moments too. The next one on my TBR is Ada's Realm by Sharon Dodowa Otu. This one sounds very experimental, very abstract, and I won't read the whole blurb to you because it's very long, but seems to be lots of different women in different parts of the world at different points in history, and finding these like through threads throughout them. I'll read the last bit of the blurb. Ada is not one woman, but many, and she is all women. She revolves in orbits, looping from one century and from one place to the next. And so she experiences the hardship, but also the joy of womanhood. She's a victim, she offers resistance, and she fights for her independence. So, I'm very intrigued. It sounds very weird, but very good. And finally, on my TBR, and last one for the video, is Of Women and Salt by Gabriela Garcia. This follows multiple generations of the same Cuban family, starting off in Cuba in the 19th century, and as they emigrate to the USA, and just sort of examining these different women and their relationships with each other, mother and daughter relationships. So yeah, I'm very intrigued to read this one as well. So that's it. Those are my International Women's Day fiction recommendations. If you have any that you think I should read, then let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, give it a subscribe if you'd like to see some more, and I will see you next time. Ta-ra for now.